That's the vegetable patch. Get the lettuce once, Susie. Get the lettuce. Do you see any wheat? You see only moss.
It's really small. And this one, that was the that's the best one. I was so excited. I decided that I think the book dedicated actually made
Charles' dinner or lunch. So the good old reliable HP curry, some of them damaged by the birds it seems. But the best place for them is to grow them over the compost heap.
If you're starting out, that was what you had in his mind.
This is Charles Dowding's vegetable garden in Homeacres, Alhampton. This Alhampton is a little bit of a strange name. Why Alhampton? Is it Arabic or something? Phoenicians were in this area in the past. It's Lebanese. Great color, I say.
So we actually have some money left then. We didn't recognise you then.
You see the solar panels on top of the building? That's such a small land, and you can make a food crop. And yet they have some space for what? Oh, look at these beans. Yellow climbing beans. Just because of the color. Beautiful color combinations with these charts. Can you find a single wheat here? This is an apple tree, and that's a russet apple. All kind of chicories. Oh yeah, and French dwarf beans. And leeks as first and only crop. These are harvested. All the courgettes. This one is mulched because there are some weeds yet which are growing there through them. Endives. This is a new area, it has mulched. All the winter squashes. And this is a bed of the Jerusalem artichoke. The apple is not doing bad. Looking an apple. That's a polytunnel full of tomato. Let's go have a look. The smell of basil. I think the polytunnel is just a little bit bigger than ours. Probably 1.5 meters. And most of the tomatoes are harvested. I see one single large black Russian one. And those ones are the ones that we saw in the Italy. I have a video about it. And some peppers. And a good mulch. That's what we have done also. Without a tomato and aubergine in a pot on a compost heap with some squash, winter squash. Or are they? No, they look like melons. The melons he told you are not doing well this year. In every space is just aubergine. I think my polytunnel is much better. Really, really good with my own hands. And basil. And some other. Oh! Bell pepper. It's really prolific.
So where will we bring it in?
And some of that Cape gooseberry. And lots of basil. You should do a basil patch like this. The idea is that half of the polytunnel is vegetables and herbs. Sure. You don't do just all polytunnel taken by tomato. This is a new bed that I made for the BBC. I cut and screwed the size on the day before, just resting on the ground, okay, and topped it with compost. And then planted this for BBC. I see radishes, I see pak choi, I see this mustard, I see freely mustard, some, I think this is broccoli, and some freely mustard again, and then bok choy again, it's kind of oriental leaves. So that's what you will see in BBC. That is Charles Dowding's greenhouse, and you see more tomatoes here, and growing the seeds here, seedlings, and they're getting ready for. Oh, look at the aubergines! I like that. And again, in the greenhouse, we see a balance between the amount of the rows of tomato and herbs like basil. And one row also of aubergine. This is the tallest aubergines I've seen so far. It looks like a commercial. Aubergine growers. And at the end, you see some peppers. And a big cucumber, but I don't think they are tasty. They look very tough. And here, triad bed, made in May 2015 for my online course. Yakun. Yakun is this kind of things from the Andes. Buka and yakun. It's a little shed. And then we come to the cabbages, mixed with some flowers. And those are, I think, also those Andean thingies. Okra, I think. That's okra. And then some oriental leaves, then some chervil, I think, and then a courgette in that corner, and seedlings for the next generation. These are some of them, I think, are turnip or oriental leaf turnip. They can be oriental leaf. But he don't plant in rows, he plants in plugs. So he will not waste seeds. And a little bit of this hot plant. And a proper place for drying your onions. And some seeds growing here. This is also where Charles Dowding keeps his, that's the conservatory, keeps his chikuris there. The solar panel to provide some money for off-grid. And that is Charles himself wearing red to be seen properly. Some carrots, some kale. Those are, I think, are the parsnip.
I'll send you an email. Yeah, great.
Hello, Charles.
How you doing?
Nice to see you, Charles.
Grabbing a picture.
Ideal. £20,000 he earns, Charles Dowding, he says, after paying for all the costs and tax and everything. And considering that you will also have your food and also you have your, after all this also, this is just from the land, the vegetables and everything. But considering that he also has courses and lectures and other things, so he will earn enough just to have a life. To enjoy life, you know, at the end of the day, the purpose is just doing what you like. He has done it in the Zimbabwe. He has done it in France, and now he's doing it. He has done it up to 3 years ago. He was somewhere else. Then he came here and settled here and just started again here.
I think in the supermarkets it's often diluted. People are very surprised. It's so strong.
It's just been pasteurised, and that is brilliant.
This is a cooking apple that he recommends. I have one tree like this. Okay, this is a tree which stays here for many years, and that's another one. The distance between them is about 180 to 2 meters, 180. And this one just probably lasts one season or 1.5 season. So just using this space. And as you see here, there are parsnips. And they're using the space between them to grow some lovely pumpkins and winter squashes. Different kind of apples, and again the winter squash. Oh, look at this asparagus bed. Probably I should have asked Charles to talk over this. When I was talking with him, I should have filmed it. But Charles has had some videos explaining what he is doing. But seeing the vegetables in first hand, for example, this gooseberry, something else. Look at this. On this giant onion, just lonely here. And a bed full of rhubarb and raspberries and onions between them, using the space. That's my idea. Intensive gardening, horticulture. And here we are back at the chickpeas. And at this stage is producing something. I experimented with many pumpkins, and I found uchikikuri, Musco de Provence, and some other ones are really good to grow. These autumn raspberries are doing now, getting ready. Quite large size. Love this mass of the lush asparagus. What densities! He's taller than me. They're well established here. And these balotti beans, they're ahead of ours. Beautiful. And this is the back of the compost heaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So whatever you invest in compost practically is not wasted. The space is perfect. And this part of it can be used for drying the onions. Caterpillar in Charles Dowding's garden.
If I Google it, because just hawk moths
when you look
is
at
a
it,
brown
remember
version
it
of
was
that with like
eating
a
all the
spike,
Charles's
actual spike.
With a
vegetables.
caterpillar that big, it's going to be big, isn't it?
Gosh, it's massive.
Because if you think of something like a, I don't know, a red admiral.
It's the size of a finger.
You have the
almost.
caterpillar
Yeah,
for
we were
that
walking
is
past.
Do you want me to move my hand?
That's all right. Whenever you want, yes.
Thought we'd better tell
Just
you.
what was the scale? Now we have the scale. I know.
Bless him,
Thank you very
sorry.
much.
But I'm really happy because you know, I'm noticing a lot less insects this year than normal.
I'm interested to hear you saying that.
Okay, dig and no dig methods. He's talking about Charles Dowding. Okay, he says that there is not much difference practical in the harvest, amount of the harvest, the weight of it each year. But the effort you do in digging is an extra job that you impose on yourself. So why bother? That makes logic to me because I started like that actually. But then, because I have to work and other things, life commitments, I could not really keep on the top of the weeds. So anyway,
She looks really happy at what you're saying, and you look really demonstrated.
you have your baby now, huh? Baby pressed apple juice.
Well, that's not been sprayed, so it's probably got a few worms in it.
They are no worms, they are.
Organic matter.
No, they are just things from the apple. Your granddad, huh?
Yes, you can see.
Oh, he's growing some tomatoes outside. That's good actually to know that how they will survive.
No sign of blight.
Inside the polytunnel, inside the greenhouse, and look at this aubergine. Really good size, and yet more continue coming. What he has done, he has kept it dry here, and then cutting the leaves and branches which are under the fruiting terrace. So that's the first terrace here. So anything under it is cut because they're not producing anything. I did it once like that, and what happened was that I ended up with blight because water was seeping from here.
That door for the bucket.
What's the compost toilet? Let us see how it looks inside. Oh, wood saw. Oh, so simple. And there is some deodorant. Should I lift the lid and see how it looks?
You just go to the toilet, put the wood chip in, and then you just put it out here and compost it.
Three. You can have a conversation, three-way conversation.
Well, you certainly
Three
can,
toilets.
because they will say what you have and you don't have to come in. Then you can survive anywhere you go.
So practically with this you don't need water. So you will have compost also here.
Yeah,
Manure.
certainly can. Sorry.
So you take it out from there, huh?
Yeah, that's the little door. Where you take
That's
out the
interesting.
bucket.
Compost toilet in Charles Dowding's home acres. Small holding. They don't keep any chicken here, so that's a good source of manure. Human manure also.
Well, I suppose you would have to.
So that is aerated here also. And also the fumes and gases and everything goes up like that. Back into the nature. Charles's home, a little bit lawn, some fruit trees. That looks kids orange red. And a few flowers. And a few bags of compost. And that is the end of our visit to the homemakers where Charles Dowding grows his vegetables in the 4th of the September 2016. Now heading back. How to create a new vegetable garden, producing a beautiful and fruitful garden from scratch. Charles Dowding, due to private issues that he had in his life, in 2013, I think, or 14, started a new garden. He moved out of the old garden that he had with his family, started a new life somewhere else in Somerset, and bought a new land, and then started to create a garden the way that he started in his previous site. You may find about that previous garden that he had in his other's book. But this is the book that relates just to how he created that garden. What I like about the book is that, first of all, it's full of pictures. The way that he done his recreation of a garden. Then the second thing is that he's writing about things that he has done himself. He's not talking about like this. What is that lady? Klein, Kristen Klein or something. Iris Fowler and others. Talking about something which is not related really to them. It's just general knowledge. You can pick it from anywhere in any book and just write about it. Kristen Klein, I think is her name. It just, to me, seems like or Alan Titmarsh and others. They're very plasticky, like very industrialized, as if they just pick things from here and there, then make it as if it looks as if they have done it. It's their own contribution, which is not true. But Charles Dowding, although he has his technique of the Nordic gardening, looks very similar to what people are doing here in England. I've seen a lot. We do, that is the raised bed. And I did also the Nordic method in the first year without even knowing that there is such a method, but I just saw that my land is full of weeds. First I removed the bigger weeds, then for the smaller ones I thought that, I cannot really cope with all that. I covered it with a thick layer of mulch, this thick. My mulch was a compost that I had in the allotment from the previous owner, and I spread it over that, and that worked as a mulch. It stopped the weeds growing vigorously, and the whatever grew, I could easily manage and pull them out. So Charles Dowding has basically suggesting such things. He experiments with different kind of mulch, of course, cardboard, paper, compost, homegrown compost, proprietary compost, the one that you buy from the companies and nurseries, and manure, different kind of manures, and also, and he discusses the result that he had from those experiments. The book is published in 2000. If I'm right, where is the publication date? 2015. Yeah, and for the first time, one of his books is in the hardcover, so that's a good addition. He had 2 more books in hardcover, I should say, actually. But this is a real hardcover with real material related to gardening. So it has 2 parts, contents. Then part 1 is about clearing ground and preparing soil. Part 2, sowing and growing. I really like this book. I take it with me wherever I'm going for a short journey, or long journey even. I take the book with me in my luggage and start to read it. Really enjoyed reading this. Practically because it inspires me. It just makes me feel that, oh yeah, I have to go on to do this myself also. Many of it is common knowledge, common sense, but there's some gems in this. I don't approve some parts of the thing, which he has not discussed it here, but if you look in his website, Charles Dowding talks about something called biodynamics, which doesn't look anything. It's not scientific, it's not science, it's just kind of practically magic. But he has not touched those things. Biodynamic to them, the way that they describe it in this book and publications, is you think there's something innocent about the lunar cycles and the phases of the moon, planting according to the phases of the moon and so. But when you go to the depth of the biodynamic, it's magic. They believe in some magical things, and they bury things, they have rituals, they have... it's also a business, They say 500, something called 500 is a kind of liquid that they do, and they do spreading around the farm in 4 corners, a bury a horn, and this silly stuff. But it cannot be convincing that how this rituals affects your land, but not the neighboring land, or if there's a field for it, how far that field is reaching, like the field of gravity or electromagnetic field. It must have a range, and does it change with the reverse of the distance? And square, reverse of the square, reverse of the distance squared. Anyway, whatever. This is about those things. It describes sometimes some parts what you can do in different seasons, how you can protect what kind of mulch you can use if you start from the zero, how to actually start digging, cover your ground, then use it as a mulch, and quite inspiring. I like the way that he has given us also some cards. The way that he has described it is, I really like it. The way that he has done it himself, and he's talking about what he has done actually himself, is really inspiring. You don't find books by people who have done the thing and then they talk about their experience. Charles Dowding is one of those people who does this. By the way, when I was talking with him, he told that he likes actually Jeremy Corbyn, so we can call him probably in a way supporter of Jeremy Corbyn. He's a decent guy, nice, pleasant guy, and a decent human being, and a good gardener. He uses his garden for growing salad leaves for selling to the restaurants. He has videos about it on YouTube. You can find them and watch them. And also he makes vegetable boxes and sell it. And also he has a lot of lectures. Of course,